Rappers and their criminal cases. Tupac and his criminal cases. Sexual assault. 1994 Tupac was convicted of first-degree sexual abuse after a woman accused him and associates of sexually assaulting her in a New York hotel room in November 1993. He was sentenced to 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison in February 1995, serving about 8 months before being released on bail pending appeal.
Hi Tupac, how you doing? Can you tell me how you doing today?
Well, I just had to listen to the prosecution's closing argument, and it was just so far from the truth that it really just has me drained at the end of the day. But
shooting of off-duty police officers. 1993 in Atlanta, Tupac shot 2 off-duty police officers who were allegedly harassing a black motorist. The charges were dropped when it was discovered that the officers were intoxicated and had stolen the weapon used in a confrontation from a crime scene. Assault with a baseball bat. 1993 Tupac was involved in an attack on director Allen Hughes, of the Hughes brothers, with a baseball bat after a dispute on a music video set. He served 15 days in jail for the assault. Weapon and drug charges. Throughout his career, Tupac faced multiple arrests for weapons possession and drug-related offenses, including marijuana possession. Probation violations. Due to his repeated run-ins with the law, Tupac frequently violated the terms of his probation, leading to additional legal complications. Snoop Dogg's criminal cases.
We, the jury in above entitled action, find the defendant, Calvin Brodus, not guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
I'm curious, what was going through your mind at the time that the jury was reading the verdict?
Murder charge. 1993 The most serious case of his career. Snoop and his bodyguard McKinley Lee were charged with murder after Lee shot and killed a man named Philip Wolder Merriam, a rival gang member. Snoop was driving the car. Both claimed self-defense. In 1996, they were acquitted after defense attorney Johnny Cochran argued it was a case of self-defense. Drug conviction. 1990 Shortly after graduating high school, Snoop was arrested for cocaine possession. He was convicted and cycled in and out of jail multiple times on drug-related charges in his early years. Weapons charge. 1993 Around the same period as the murder charge, Snoop faced a weapons possession charge. The case was eventually resolved alongside his other legal matters. Airport brawl. 2006 Snoop and his entourage were arrested at London's Heathrow Airport after a brawl with police officers in a duty-free shop. He was subsequently banned from entering the UK on multiple occasions. Drug arrests. Various Snoop has been arrested numerous times for marijuana possession over the decades, including a 2006 arrest at Burbank Airport where authorities found marijuana and a collapsible baton. He was charged with felony possession of a firearm and marijuana. Driving offenses. Snoop has faced charges related to driving with a suspended license on more than one occasion. Banned from Australia. 2015 Australian authorities denied Snoop a visa due to his criminal history, preventing him from touring there.
King Von's criminal cases.
He was a serial killer who bragged about killing people, and he professed and confessed to be a demon.
He was that, bruh. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Von gave me a lot of passes. He could have killed me a couple times.
I was happy as hell when I found out Von was dead. I cooked for the whole day.
I was relieved for the community, man, because he was over there torturing them guys, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was a devil, man.
How are you rich and you're robbing people? You robbing producers.
Murder charges. 2012 King Von was first charged with murder at just 17 years old in Chicago. The case stemmed from street violence tied to the Parkway Gardens, O Block, neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. The charges were eventually dropped. Multiple murder charges. 2014 Von faced additional murder charges in 2014, again connected to Chicago street violence. He spent significant time in pretrial detention. These charges were also eventually dropped or dismissed. Murder charges. 2019, Atlanta. This was his most high-profile legal case. Von was charged with felony murder and aggravated assault following a shooting in Atlanta in March 2019 in which one person was killed. He was arrested and faced serious time. He was released on bond and the case was still pending at the time of his death. Weapons and gun charges. Throughout his life, Von faced multiple firearms-related charges, consistent with his environment growing up in one of Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods. Street violence and documented rivalries. Vaughn was openly connected to the O-Block gang and had documented beef with several Chicago drill artists, most notably Lil Durk's rivals. His music frequently referenced real events and real people involved in street violence. Death: November 2020. King Von was shot and killed outside an Atlanta nightclub on November 6, 2020, following an altercation. He was 26 years old. Timothy Leaks, a member of NBA YoungBoy's entourage, was charged with the murder.
DMX criminal offenses: carjacking and animal cruelty. 1998 to 1999. Shortly after his rap career exploded, DMX was arrested for carjacking in New Jersey. He also faced early animal cruelty charges related to his pit bulls, foreshadowing a recurring theme in his legal troubles. Drug possession: multiple arrests. 1999-2000. DMX was arrested numerous times throughout his career for cocaine and crack cocaine possession. Substance abuse was a central struggle throughout his life, and he was open about his addiction in interviews and music.
Do you have a drug problem now?
I will always have a drug problem.
Tell me about that.
Just because you stop getting high doesn't mean that you don't have the problem, because it's a constant fight every day.
Driving offenses: 2002 to 2004. DMX faced multiple charges including driving without a license, reckless driving, and related offenses across several states. He had a pattern of traffic-related arrests throughout the early 2000s. Drug possession and probation violations: 2004 to 2008. DMX cycled repeatedly through the court system during this period, violating probation terms multiple times due to failed drug tests and new arrests. He served several short jail stints during these years. Animal cruelty charges: Arizona, 2008. One of his most publicized cases. Authorities discovered 12 neglected and malnourished pit bulls at his Arizona property. He pleaded guilty and served 90 days in jail, was fined, and placed on probation. Identity fraud: 2008. DMX was arrested in Phoenix for impersonating a federal agent, claiming to be a federal officer at a gas station. He was charged, and the case was added to his growing legal file. Failure to pay child support: 2008 to 2010. DMX fathered numerous children and faced repeated child support contempt charges for failing to meet court-ordered payments. He served jail time specifically for this offense. 50 Cent criminal cases. Drug dealing arrests: 1994 to 1997. 50 Cent was dealing crack cocaine from the age of 12 in Southside Jamaica, Queens. He was arrested multiple times as a teenager for drug possession and distribution. He served time in a boot camp detention program for 6 months after one conviction, which he later credited with straightening him out somewhat. Weapons possession: 1994. During his drug dealing years, 50 was caught with drugs and a firearm simultaneously. This was one of several weapons-related brushes with the law during his teenage years. Shooting incident: victim, 2000. While not a criminal case against him, this defined his life and career. On May 24, 2000, 50 Cent was shot 9 times at close range outside his grandmother's house in Queens. The attack was widely believed to be ordered by associates of Ja Rule and Murder Incorporated. No one was ever charged. 50 survived and turned the incident into his entire brand. Drug possession: 2000. Shortly before or around the time of his shooting, 50 faced additional drug and weapons charges that complicated his early rap career and led to him being dropped from Columbia Records. Assault and weapons charges: early 2000s. 50 faced several assault-related charges during the height of his beef with Ja Rule, Murder Incorporated, and various New York figures. Most were resolved without significant jail time. Bulletproof vest charge: 2003. 50 was charged with illegally wearing a bulletproof vest in New York, a charge that carries serious weight for convicted felons. The case was eventually resolved. Harassment and cyberbullying cases: 2010's 50 Cent became notorious for online harassment, particularly on Instagram. His most serious case came when he posted a sex tape involving the son of his longtime rival Rick Ross's associate without consent. He was ordered to pay $7 million in damages, which contributed to his 2015 bankruptcy filing. Bankruptcy: 2015. While not a criminal case, 50 filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection despite appearing wealthy, owing over $32 million in debts including the sex tape judgment. He emerged from bankruptcy in 2016 after restructuring his debts. Tax evasion investigation: 2015. Connecticut authorities investigated 50 for tax fraud and evasion after he claimed bankruptcy while displaying a lavish lifestyle on social media. He was questioned but ultimately avoided criminal charges after cooperating with authorities. Domestic violence: 2016 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend Daphne Joy accused him of domestic violence, and he was ordered to complete domestic violence counseling as part of a legal settlement. He denied the allegations. Court-ordered fine, hiding assets. 2015 During his bankruptcy proceedings, a judge found that 50 had potentially been hiding assets while claiming insolvency. He was fined unsanctioned by the court for this conduct.
Lil Durk's criminal cases. Gun charges 2013. Lil Durk's first major legal trouble came when he was arrested in Chicago for unlawful use of a weapon. He was 20 years old and just beginning to gain traction in the Chicago drill scene. He was held in Cook County Jail for several months before being released. This arrest briefly stalled his early career momentum. Second gun charge 2013. Within the same year, Durk was arrested again on a separate weapons charge. 2 gun arrests in 1 year painted a serious legal picture and put him at risk of significant prison time. Both cases were eventually resolved without a lengthy sentence. Probation violations 2014 through 2016. Following his gun charges, Durk was placed on probation and struggled to stay compliant. He faced multiple probation violation hearings during this period, largely due to the difficulty of navigating street life while under court supervision in Chicago. Drug and weapons possession, Atlanta, 2019. Durk was arrested in Atlanta on charges of drug possession and weapons charges. The arrest came during a period when he had relocated significantly between Chicago and Atlanta. Charges were later resolved. Attempted murder charge, 2021. This was the most serious case of his career. Durk was charged with attempted murder in connection with a February 2022 shooting in Atlanta. Prosecutors alleged he was directly involved in a drive-by shooting targeting a rival. He was arrested in October 2021 and faced potentially decades in prison. India Cox shooting investigation, 2022. Durk's girlfriend and frequent collaborator India Cox was shot in the leg at a Halloween party in 2022. The incident drew police attention and media scrutiny, though Durk was not charged in connection with it. Federal murder-for-hire conspiracy charge, 2024. By far his most serious legal jeopardy. In 2024, Durk was indicted on federal charges including murder-for-hire conspiracy in connection with the death of Quando Rondo's associate, stemming from the ongoing beef related to the death of his close friend King Von in 2020. Federal charges carry mandatory minimums and are significantly harder to beat than state charges. This case remains one of the most high-profile active federal cases in hip-hop. Connection to King Von's death, 2020. While never charged, the murder of King Von in November 2020 deeply affected Durk personally and allegedly fueled retaliatory actions that form the basis of some of his later legal troubles. The Von-Quando Rondo beef sits at the center of his 2024 federal indictment. Nicki Minaj's criminal cases.
My mother would let my father be violent with her. And she always brings up the story as a little girl. I would stand in front of my mother and go like this. And I vowed, that's why I'm, maybe some people would describe me as abrasive or bitchy or whatever, because I vowed from that age, no man would ever abuse me, call me out my name, treat me like that. And then all of a sudden, that was my life.
Gun possession, 1994. Before she was famous, a teenage Nicki Minaj was involved in an incident involving illegal gun possession. The case was from her early years growing up in South Jamaica, Queens. Details remain sparse, but it is part of her documented early background. Assault and firing an employee, 2007. Nicki was involved in an assault case stemming from a dispute with a stylist. The case revolved around allegations of physical confrontation and wrongful termination. It was settled civilly. Hit and Run Brothers Case, 2015. Nicki's brother Jelani Maraj became a major legal liability when he was arrested and later convicted of child rape in 2015. While not Nicki's own criminal case, she paid for his legal defense, and the case drew enormous public scrutiny toward her family. Drug smuggling at the border, 2022. Nicki's husband Kenneth Petty and her entourage faced scrutiny at border crossings related to drug and weapons discoveries. While Nicki herself was not charged, the incidents brought law enforcement attention to her circle. Hit and Run Personal Case, 2020. Nicki herself was involved in a hit-and-run incident in 2020 in New Jersey, where her vehicle allegedly struck another car and she left the scene. The case was resolved without significant legal consequences. Kenneth Petty, sex offender supervision violations, 2020-2021. Her husband Kenneth Petty, a registered sex offender who had served time for attempted rape, repeatedly violated the terms of his sex offender registration after they married and relocated to California. In 2021, he pleaded guilty to failing to register as a sex offender and was sentenced to 3 years probation and fined. Nicki was separately accused by prosecutors of attempting to bribe and intimidate the victim in Petty's original rape case into recanting. The victim filed a civil lawsuit against both Nicki and Petty, which was settled out of court in 2022. Tax issues and financial disputes, various. Nicki has faced several IRS and financial disputes over the years related to unpaid taxes and contracted disagreements, though none escalated into full criminal proceedings. Assault case wardrobe stylist, 2023. In 2023, a former wardrobe stylist filed an assault and battery lawsuit against Nicki, alleging she was physically attacked by Nicki during a dispute on tour. The case drew media attention and was ongoing. Detained at Amsterdam Airport, 2024. In 2024, Nicki was detained by Dutch authorities at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport after police allegedly found soft drugs in her luggage. She was held briefly before being released. She took to social media claiming she was being harassed and that the drugs were planted. She was ultimately released without charge and performed her scheduled concert.
What do you all think about this?
Song, Shake It, or like any drill songs, because it's like these songs are activating like these demons that I killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that girl anymore. I just want to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that old Cardi anymore. I left that lifestyle a long time ago, bro. Like, I don't want to be that anymore. Like, and she's coming back. She's coming back, bro. Like, I feel like getting a king.
Gang membership and drug use, early 2010s. Before fame, Cardi B was an open member of the Bloods gang in the Bronx, New York. She has spoken freely about this in interviews, describing it as a survival mechanism growing up in poverty. She was involved in drug use and street activity during this period, though avoided serious charges. Stripper years, robbery and assault, 2013-2015. During her time as a stripper, Cardi B has openly admitted on social media to drugging and robbing men who visited her. In 2015, a video resurfaced of her stating she would lure men back to hotels, drug them with substances including Molly and cocaine, and steal their money and belongings. The admission caused enormous controversy in 2019, but she was never criminally charged for these incidents. Assault at a strip club, 2018. This became her most documented criminal case. In August 2018, Cardi B allegedly ordered an attack on 2 bartending sisters, Jade and Baddie Gee, at a New York strip club called Angels. The alleged motive was that one of the sisters had slept with her husband, Offset. During the brawl, bottles and chairs were thrown, and the sisters suffered injuries including cuts and bruises. Indictment, 12 counts, 2019. Following the strip club incident, Cardi B was indicted by a grand jury in New York on 12 criminal counts including felony assault, reckless endangerment, criminal solicitation, conspiracy. She initially refused a plea deal that would have required her to plead guilty to a lesser charge and serve no jail time, believing she had done nothing wrong. Plea deal and guilty verdict, 2022. After years of court proceedings, Cardi B ultimately pleaded guilty in September 2022 to third-degree assault and reckless endangerment, both misdemeanors. She was sentenced to 15 days of community service and was not required to serve any jail time. The case was considered a significant legal victory for her given the severity of the original charges. Microphone throwing incident, 2023. At a Las Vegas concert in 2023, Cardi B threw her microphone into the crowd after an audience member splashed water on her while she was performing. The person she hit filed a police report, and there was brief speculation about assault charges. No charges were ultimately filed, but the incident went massively viral. Civil lawsuit, defamation, various. Cardi B has been involved in multiple defamation lawsuits against bloggers and social media users who spread rumors about her, including allegations of herpes and prostitution. She has won several of these cases, with courts awarding her damages. Immigration and tax scrutiny. Cardi has faced questions about financial disclosures and tax filings as her income exploded from nearly nothing to tens of millions of dollars within a few years. No criminal charges have been filed, but she has had ongoing disputes with financial authorities.